At the beginning of the story, we see a prison located in Santiago. Thousands of dangerous criminals are held captive there. It is the most secure prison in Santiago, because until today, no prisoner has ever managed to escape from this jail. And the reason for that is the prison's warden. The warden is an extremely strict and ruthless person who beats prisoners terribly for even the slightest mistake. And that is exactly why the prisoners in this jail think 100 times before making even the slightest mistake, let alone attempting to escape. But this fear of the warden will not last much longer, because now an extremely clever man has entered this prison. His name is Leon. Leon is an architect who can look at any building and immediately understand how old it is and how it was designed. The moment Leon enters the prison, his mind begins plotting an escape plan.
Leon is not alone. He has come with 4 other trusted companions, Raphael, German, and 2 more. Among these 5 is a guitarist. The prison authorities allow inmates to work according to their own skills, playing guitar, cooking, woodwork. This very rule will later become their most powerful weapon. A little while later, a prison officer lines up all the prisoners and lays out the rules of the jail, warning that anyone who tries to break the rules will be killed. After that, all the prisoners are marched in line toward their respective blocks. According to the plan, Leon was supposed to claim cell number 50 because strategically it was the most important position. But when he rushed over and opened the door, he found that someone else had already taken the spot. For a brief moment, a shadow of disappointment crossed Leon's face. Eventually, he moved into the adjacent cell, number 51.
A little while later, Leon's companions gather in his cell. Raphael says, "You were supposed to be in number 50. This is cell number 51. Leon calmly replies, his cell was on the first floor, and it wasn't possible to get there in time. German grows restless and says, "So what do we do now?" Raphael thinks for a moment and says, "What else can we do? We start the plan from tomorrow." The very next morning, Leon gets to work. He carefully observes every corner of the prison, the positions of the guards, the timing of their patrols, the height of the walls. He commits everything to memory. He rules out climbing the walls right from the start because there are armed guards on all sides. One wrong move and it's a bullet. So he gets down on foot, counting his steps to measure the length of the prison. After the calculations add up, he returns to his companions with a decision. We will dig a tunnel underground.
German almost laughs. That's madness. That's impossible. Guards everywhere, the slightest suspicion and they'll shoot us. But Leon stays calm. He says they're standing only 90 meters away from the road outside the prison. If the tunnel covers those 90 meters, they'll come out on the other side into a jungle. And in the jungle, the guards will never be able to find us. Everyone agrees to this plan. But one question stops them all. Where will they hide the tons of earth dug out from the tunnel? Every evening, the guards check every single cell. Even a speck of dirt catching their eye could mean the end of everything. Now, while these 3 are planning where to hide the soil coming out of the tunnel, a prisoner notices them. His name is Bigo. Bigo is a deceitful man who has ties with the prison's warden, and whenever he sees any prisoner attempting to escape or break the rules, Bigo quietly goes straight to the guards and reports them. And now, for the past several days, he has been keeping a close eye on Leon and his 2 companions. Seeing these 3 talk together for a long time, Bigo grows suspicious of them, so he goes straight to Raphael. Bigo says, "I have been watching all 3 of you for the past few days, and I know you 3 are planning to escape from here, so I also want to join your plan of escaping from this place."
Here, looking at Bigot's face, something feels off to Raphael. So Raphael tells Bigot, there's nothing of the sort. We 3 were just having a conversation, and we have no plan to escape from here. The next day, Leon, German, and Raphael come down to the lower cell. Raphael looks at one of the walls and says that they will dig through this wall to build the tunnel. But the problem is that once the digging begins, the tunnel cannot be left open because every evening the guards come to check every cell, and if the guards spot the tunnel, all of them will be caught.
Then Leon says that they will break a section of this wall and make an identical fake block so that when the guards come to check the cell in the evening, they will place the fake block back into the wall, hide the tunnel, and avoid getting caught. Now, all of this was fine, but the biggest question remained. What would they do with the soil coming out of the tunnel? The solution comes from a clever head. Leon's guitarist companion is called over. He reaches inside his guitar and pulls out a large screwdriver he had been hiding there. Leon takes it and begins carving a square hole in the ceiling of the cell. To muffle the tremendous noise from inside, the guitarist outside plays and sings at full volume. After some hard work, Leon creates a hole in the ceiling, pushes his head through, and looks up. On the other side of the ceiling, there is a massive empty space. More than 80 tons of soil could be hidden here.
Now, evening was approaching, and soon the guards would come to check the cells. So Raphael panics and says, "We need to close this hole quickly." Then Leon says, "Quickly, bring me some eggs." Hearing this, Raphael gets angry and says, "Do you think this is funny right now?" Then Leon says, "You bring me the eggs quickly, then watch my magic." Hearing this, Raphael goes to get the eggs. A little while later, Raphael comes running back with the eggs. Leon pours the collected soil into a bucket, adds lime, and then cracks the eggs into the mixture. He stirs everything vigorously until it turns into a thick paste-like substance, a makeshift plaster that can harden and blend with the wall. Meanwhile, the guitarist outside switches to their danger signal tune. The guards are approaching. Working frantically, they knead the mixture like dough, shape it into a block that perfectly matches the hole, and press it into the ceiling. From below, they quickly stick a poster over the spot to hide any trace. A little while later, the guards enter their cell and push Leon and his friends out. The guards thoroughly check their cell, but they find nothing inside. Then one guard's eyes fall on the poster stuck to the ceiling. But just as that guard was about to pull the poster off, his officer calls him from outside. Hearing this, the guard leaves without removing the poster, and in this way, all of their lives are saved.
By this point, they have spent 34 days in this prison, and they need to get out of here very soon. So Leon and German climb up to the ceiling above and build an open wooden box, fill it with white cement, and leave it up on the roof. A few days later, their block is ready. Now, the heavy work of building the tunnel begins, and they get to work on the excavation. They start cutting the lowest section of the wall according to the block they had already made. But while digging, there was a lot of noise. Some guards hear the sound and begin making their way toward their cell. But before the guards arrive, their guitarist companion comes and warns them that some guards are heading toward the cell. Hearing this, everyone gets very scared because the section of the wall they had cut was smaller than the block they had made, meaning the block would not fit into it. Now, when they see no other way out, they quickly gather the broken wall material and very carefully place things over the spot where they were building the tunnel to conceal it, then go about their own business so as not to arouse the guard's suspicion. A little while later, a guard enters their cell and looks around in all directions to check whether they are planning any escape, but nothing seems suspicious to him, so the guard leaves. The moment the guard is gone, they turn up the radio volume and get back to work on the excavation. After many hours of hard work, they finally cut out a perfect section in the shape of the block and fix the white cement block into place. They then fill the dug-out soil into a bag and carry it up to the cell above, the one where they had previously broken through the ceiling to create a hole, which they had sealed with a small block made by mixing eggs and material. They open that block and start storing the soil in the empty space above. In this way, they build a full daily routine, and for many days their excavation work continues very cleverly. But one prisoner, named Oscar, grows suspicious of them because he had been observing them for the past several days. He notices that every day they follow the same pattern, going from the lower cell to the upper cell, and they always go up carrying a bag or a bucket in hand. Seeing all this, Oscar grows suspicious of them, but he says nothing to anyone. He simply keeps a quiet watch on them. After 70 days pass, Leon measures. Their tunnel has reached only 5 meters. The disappointment is clear on his face. At this rate, it will take them 5 years to complete the entire tunnel. So he says, "We need to increase our manpower." Meanwhile, when their companion German was carrying a bag of soil upstairs, a police officer stops him and asks what is in this bag. German says, "Nothing special, just some of my personal things." Hearing this, the officer says, "All right, then come on, open the bag and show me."
Hearing this, German panics and thinks that today we will all get caught. But when German opens the bag, there are some items inside. In fact, German had beforehand hidden the soil at the bottom of the bag and placed items on top. But the guard grows suspicious of German, so the guard tells German, "Come with me to the checking room." Then German, very cleverly, swaps his bag with another identical bag belonging to his companion Leon, who was sitting below, and follows the guard into the checking room. In the checking room, when the guard thoroughly checks German's bag, he finds nothing inside except items. After that, the guard lets German go. On the 86th day, Leon decides some prisoners from the upper floor will be brought into the group. They are shown the tunnel. They see it and immediately agree. Because some of them are death row inmates, this tunnel is their only hope. Leon introduces a new shift system. 2 will dig, 2 will move the soil, 2 will keep watch on the guards. A hole is also made in the ceiling of the upper cell. Instead of stairs, soil will be passed directly upward through the hole. This reduces the risk of being caught and increases the speed of work. In this way, 100 kilograms of soil begin coming out every day. Whenever any prisoner was digging in the tunnel, they would turn up the radio volume, and all the prisoners outside would behave in front of the guards as if everything was completely normal. And whenever any of their guards spotted a danger, they would knock on the cell door and ring the danger signal, so that the prisoners digging inside would put everything back to normal and go about their own work. In this way, every prisoner involved in the escape plan would follow their routine and carry out their assigned task, and every evening they would gather together to plan ahead so that no guard would grow suspicious of anyone and everything would run perfectly. But in the evening, while they were playing football, a prisoner named Oscar comes up to Raphael and says, "I know you are trying to dig a tunnel, so I also want to join your team and help." Then Raphael takes Oscar to Leon, and Leon adds Oscar to his team as well. Here, Leon tells his 2 companions, German and Raphael, "The way things are going, I am fully confident that we will soon finish this tunnel and get out of here. But even after getting out, we could still get caught, because we are not 4 or 5 people, we're a full 40. And if the police spot us running after we come out, they will send cars and catch us. So we need someone from outside who will have a bus ready for us the moment we come out." Now they're left wondering who from the outside could help them. Then Leon says, "Raphael, your wife Polina can help us from outside, and we can also trust her. So you need to ask your wife for help." On the 182nd day, a family visit opportunity arrives. Raphael meets his wife Polina and tells her the entire plan. You need to arrange a bus from outside. Polina agrees and leaves. Polina then meets Leon's father at a church. Leon's father is a priest, and an old friend of Leon also comes there. After hearing everything, the friend says, "I will arrange the bus."
By now, 205 days have passed since they started digging the tunnel in the prison, and they have made the tunnel very long as well. But one day, when their guitarist companion was digging inside the tunnel, the guards show up unexpectedly for a cell check. Seeing this, Raphael and Leon, standing outside, panic tremendously. Because for the past several days, cell checks had been happening at night, but today the guards have come to do the check in the afternoon, as if they suspected that someone inside the prison was trying to dig a tunnel. Seeing the guard, Leon runs inside and alerts everyone, saying, "Whatever is lying around, hide it all quickly." Hearing this, those who are working abandon the tunnel work and go about their own tasks. The other companion who had gone into the tunnel along with the guitarist also starts coming out, but the guitarist gets trapped inside because he had been working at the very far end of the tunnel. Still, he tries his best to get out, but he realizes that before he can make it out, the guards will reach the tunnel. Now everyone is afraid and thinking that today we will all get caught, but Raphael cleverly gathers all the prisoners, comes and stands in front of the guards and blocks them from advancing. Seeing this, the police officer gets furious and the police attack the prisoners. Here, the prisoners also confront the police and try to hold them back so that their companion who is trapped in the tunnel can get out.
Meanwhile, we see that their guitarist companion has now come out of the tunnel. He quickly fits the cement block back into the tunnel entrance. When he opens the cell door and looks outside, there is no one there. In fact, all the prisoners have been punished for attacking the guards. They've been stripped of their clothes and made to stand outside in the sun. A little while later, the warden arrives. The warden says keep all of them standing here without clothes until sunset and cut off their food for 1 day. Meanwhile, inside the prison, Raphael's lawyer comes to visit him. At that time, the warden tries to offer Raphael a cigarette. Raphael does not take it, but he mentally notes the brand on the cigarette packet in the warden's hand. Why? That will become clear later. After that, more than a year passes. The tunnel is now very deep and long, but a new problem arises. At such a depth, oxygen is running out. One day, a companion loses consciousness inside the tunnel due to lack of oxygen. Raphael drags him out. In the evening meeting, a solution is found. A prisoner who works in the prison has a motor. That can be used to supply oxygen to the far end of the tunnel. Raphael goes and talks to him. If you give us the motor, in exchange, we will take you with us as well. He agrees. A fan is attached to the motor and oxygen is delivered to the far end through a plastic pipe. Work continues again. Meanwhile, the warden grows suspicious. He is certain that something is happening inside the prison. He calls Bigot over, hands him a cigarette packet, and says, "Keep watch, find out what is going on."
Day 514. The tunnel has now reached beyond the prison boundary. Raphael makes a small hole from below and pours red liquid out through it. This is the signal that the tunnel has reached this point. The next day, Leon's father comes for a visit and says, "We have seen the signal, the red color, but you have not yet reached the right spot. You need to go another 40 feet forward." The digging continues again. In the meantime, Bigot comes to Raphael again. This time, with tears in his eyes, he pleads, "I have a wife and daughter outside. Please take me with you." Raphael's heart softens, and he is just about to reveal the tunnel, but right at that moment, his eyes fall on the cigarette packet in Bigot's hand. It is the exact same brand he had seen in the warden's hand a few days ago. Raphael's jaw tightens. He realizes that Bigot is in league with the warden. Now, as their tunnel work is nearing completion, Leon goes to meet a prisoner in the jail who is sitting in a wheelchair. Leon tells him, "We are escaping from here soon, so I want you to come with us." But the man in the wheelchair says, "Get out as fast as you can. Don't worry about me. I will not be able to come with you." And then that night arrived. In the prison's hall room, everyone is watching a romantic film on TV. All eyes are on the screen. All the escaping prisoners make their way to the tunnel cell and begin going down into the tunnel one by one. Meanwhile, when Bigot was watching TV, his gaze drifts toward the back and he notices that many prisoners are gone. This makes him suspicious and he heads straight toward Raphael's cell. But halfway there, the man in the wheelchair blocks Bigot. Bigot shoves him aside and knocks him down, then comes straight to Raphael's cell. There, he sees the tunnel. Oscar was also standing there, and Oscar is the last prisoner to leave from this point. Now that Bigot knows the full truth, he goes to call the police, but Oscar grabs hold of him. A fight breaks out between them, and Bigot strikes Oscar's hand with a screwdriver, seriously injuring him. But despite being gravely injured, Oscar does not let Bigot go and beats him until he is unconscious. Now, Oscar also tries to go into the tunnel, but because his hand is seriously injured, he is unable to enter. On the other side, all the prisoners were slowly making their way through the tunnel and eventually reached the far end. There, Leon's old friend from outside opens up the top of the tunnel and pulls each prisoner out one by one, taking them by the hand. After coming out, everyone quickly changes their clothes, and right then, a bus is seen approaching over the bridge in front of them. Seeing this, everyone runs toward the bus and boards it, but Oscar has still not come, so everyone is waiting for him. Here, German says, "I feel like Oscar has run into some trouble, so I'm going to help Oscar." He then goes to bring Oscar back. Meanwhile, inside the prison, the movie had ended, and all the prisoners were making their way back to their respective cells. Then that wheelchair prisoner comes and tells everyone that there's a tunnel in Raphael's cell, through which you can escape. Hearing this, all the prisoners start running in that direction. Seeing this, the guards also grow suspicious and call for more guards. A little while later, sirens begin blaring throughout the entire prison,
the sound of which is heard by the prisoners sitting in the bus outside, and everyone realizes that it is no longer safe to stay here, so we have to leave now. Just then, German comes back as well.
He tells everyone, "I went to the tunnel, but I did not find Oscar there." After that, the bus drives away from the spot. On the other side, we see Oscar inside the prison, who was unable to escape because of his injury. The news of the prisoner's escape is now reported to the prison warden. Hearing the news, the warden becomes furious. Meanwhile, all the prisoners were on the bus. There, Polina hands each prisoner their purse, which contains some money and their fake ID. After that, all the prisoners separate and go their own ways. In this way, all those who had worked day and night for the past several months break free from the prison. This was the biggest prison break in history, where over the course of 567 days, a full 50 prisoners escaped from the prison all at once through a tunnel, but their companion Oscar had failed to escape.